Mark and I weren't perfect, but we worked on us, holding it all together. We had our routines, morning traffic rants, Friday takeout, a shared Netflix account, and two little munchkins, Emma and Noah, 4 and 6, who still believed their dad could do no wrong. About a month ago, Mark came home pacing with that jittery look he gets when he's read too much online. "Jenny," he leaned against the doorframe of our laundry room. He fidgeted with his wedding band, a nervous habit he'd developed over our 7 years of marriage. I looked up, blowing a strand of hair from my face. "What's up?" "I think we have a serious problem with the house." "What kind of problem?" "I found rat droppings in the basement. And behind the kitchen cabinets. I think we need professional help." "Rats? Are you sure?" "Positive. I called a specialist. They said we should vacate the house for at least 2 weeks while they handle it. They need to do a deep disinfection." I didn't argue because this was Mark. Last winter, he'd insisted on replacing all our smoke detectors after watching a fire safety video on TikTok. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling. 2 weeks felt like a long time to be away just for some disinfection. "Where are we supposed to go?" Mark's face brightened. "Already handled it. Found a great deal at the hotel downtown. Paid up front for 14 days. There's an indoor pool for the kids, free breakfast. It's amazing." I raised an eyebrow. "That's surprisingly proactive of you." He shrugged, not meeting my eyes. "Just want to keep my family safe." "When do we leave?" "Tomorrow morning. The crew needs to start as soon as possible." I sighed, looking around at the half-folded laundry. "I guess I'd better start packing." "Just the essentials," he said quickly. "It's only 2 weeks." As he turned to leave, I called after him. "Did you ask Mrs. Lawson next door to keep an eye on the place? You know how she loves to be involved." "No need. The crew will be here daily. And I'm gonna stay back and supervise everything." "Oh. What's the company called?" "I want to Google them." "Ah, come on. Don't worry about the details. I've got it all covered. They're trustworthy folks." "Okay." The kids and I moved into the hotel the very next day. By day 5, they were thriving. Room service mac and cheese had completely won them over. "Mommy, can we live here forever?" Emma asked, jumping on one of the double beds while clutching her stuffed rabbit. I smiled, catching her mid-bounce. "Don't you miss your own room? And all your toys?" She scrunched her face. "But I can swim in the pool here every day." Noah looked up from his tablet. "And breakfast has those waffle machines." Meanwhile, Mark seldom visited during our stay. He claimed he worked late most nights and was busy checking in on the disinfection progress during lunch breaks. When he did join us at the hotel, he was distracted and constantly checking his phone. On the afternoon of day 10, I decided to drop by our house after picking up Emma's favorite shampoo from the store. We'd forgotten it in the rush to pack, and hotel shampoo was causing tantrums at bath time. Just a quick stop, I told myself, turning onto our street. In and out. As I approached our driveway, my stomach dropped. There were no workers. No hazmat suits or equipment. Just a shiny red Volkswagen parked where I usually left my minivan. I drove past slowly, my heart racing. Then I made a U-turn and parked across the street. I sat there for 5 minutes, convincing myself I was overreacting. Then, a strange movement caught my eye through our kitchen window, the one above the sink where I'd spent countless hours washing dishes and watching the kids play in the backyard. I saw her. Her hair was dark. She was drinking coffee in my mug, the one that said, "World's okayest mom," a joke gift from my sister. She was in pajamas at 2:30 in the afternoon, moving through my kitchen like she owned the place. My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone between the seats. By the time I fished it out, I couldn't see straight through my tears. My mind raced with questions. Who is she? What is she doing in my house? I didn't confront her or storm into the house. I met with my neighbor for 5 quiet minutes, then drove off, the taste of betrayal thick on my tongue. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Noah asked when I returned to the hotel. I wiped my eyes quickly. "Just allergies, sweetie. Who wants ice cream?" Mark didn't answer my first 6 calls. When he finally did, his voice was carefully casual. "Hey, what's up? Where are you?" "At work. Got a meeting in 5 minutes. Everything okay?" "Actually, no. I need you to come to the hotel. Now." "Jenny, I can't just. Now, Mark. Or I swear to God, I'm packing up the kids and you'll never see any of us again. I'll be there in 30 minutes. He arrived with a bouquet of roses and a forced smile that faltered when he saw my face. "The kids are at the pool with that nice grandmother we met yesterday," I said, arms crossed. "She's watching them for an hour." Mark placed the flowers on the dresser. "Jenny, what's going on?" "I stopped by our house today." His face drained of color so quickly I thought he might faint. "There's no rat problem, is there? No deep disinfection. Just a woman in pajamas drinking from my freaking mug." Mark sank onto the edge of the bed. I can explain." "Please do. Explain why you shipped your family to a hotel so you could play house with someone else." Mark ran his hands through his hair. "It's not what you think." "Really? Because I think you're having an affair in our home, in front of our neighbors, while I'm stuck in this hotel thinking you're protecting us from some health hazard." "Her name is Sophie." The name hit me like a slap. Sophie. His college girlfriend. The one who got away, according to his drunk best friend at our wedding. Sophie. The ex who moved to California. She moved back 3 months ago. We ran into each other at that coffee shop near my office. It was unexpected. "And what? You decided to test drive your old relationship by kicking your wife and children out of their home?" Mark looked up, his eyes pleading. "I was confused, Jenny. I thought I knew what I wanted, but seeing her again. I needed time to figure things out." "Time to figure things out? While I'm reading bedtime stories alone and explaining to our children why Daddy is always working. I never meant to hurt you. What did you think would happen? That I'd never find out? That Mrs. Lawson wouldn't notice a strange woman coming and going from our house for 2 weeks?" His eyes widened. "You talked to Mrs. Lawson?" "She told me she saw everything, Mark. She's also friends with a really good divorce attorney." "Divorce?" "Jenny, don't be hasty. This is just a midlife crisis or something. You're 37. An early one, then." He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. "Please, we can work through this. Couples therapy. A fresh start. Anything." I walked to the window, staring out at the hotel parking lot. "Does she know about me and the kids?" His silence was answer enough. "What did you tell her? That we were out of town? That I was sick? Or did you go full soap opera and say I died? Is that why she's walking around in pajamas like she lives here?" "Jenny. The house is in my name, Mark." I turned to face him. "Did you know that? When my dad died and left me that inheritance, we put the down payment and the title in my name for tax purposes." The color drained from his face again. "So technically, you've invited another woman into my house." That night, after Mark left with promises to figure things out and to make it right, I called Mrs. Lawson. "I had a feeling something wasn't right," she said. "That woman's car has been there almost every night. I was going to call you, but Mark told everyone you'd gone to visit your mother. He's been planning this for a while, it seems, Mrs. Lawson. What are you going to do, dear?" I looked at my sleeping children, peaceful and unaware that their world was about to change forever. "First, I'm going to need that attorney's number." The next morning, I dropped the kids at the hotel's kids club and drove back to the house. This time, no red car sat in the driveway. I used my key and walked in, half expecting to find them both there. The house was empty, but evidence of another life was everywhere. Unfamiliar wine glasses in the sink, a woman's cardigan draped over my reading chair, and a different brand of coffee in the pantry. I sat at my kitchen table, running my fingers over the scratches and stains that told our family's story. Then I remembered something. Mark was terrible with technology. He'd never changed our Wi-Fi password or updated any of our smart home settings. Perfect. I pulled out my phone and opened our security app. There they were, Mark and Sophie cooking dinner in my kitchen, watching movies on my couch, and playing with my dog, Max, who clearly had been left behind for their little fantasy life. Max came bounding down the stairs when he heard me, his whole body wiggling with joy. At least someone was faithful. "Hey, buddy," I scratched behind his ears. "Did you miss me?" I downloaded the security footage to my phone, then called the locksmith. That evening, Mark tried his key in the front door. I watched through the peephole as confusion spread across his face. He knocked, then rang the doorbell. I opened the door but blocked the entrance. "Can I help you?" "Jenny, what's going on?" "My key doesn't work." "Of course it doesn't. I changed the locks." He gaped at me. "You can't just." "I can, and I did. This is my house, legally speaking. You might want to check with your girlfriend about where you'll be staying tonight. She's gone, back to California." "Boo-hoo. How tragic for you." "Jenny, please. I made a mistake. A horrible, stupid mistake." I opened the door and handed him a large manila envelope. "These are papers from my attorney. You'll also find USB drives with some interesting home security footage. I recommend watching before you decide how to proceed." His shoulders slumped. "Where am I supposed to go?" "I hear the hotel downtown has a great deal on rooms. Indoor pool. Free breakfast. What about the kids?" "They're at my sister's for the weekend. We'll need to talk about arrangements, but not today. Today, I need you to leave. I love you, Jenny. I always have." I felt the tears threatening again, but I held them back. Love without respect isn't love at all. It's just another word for selfishness. "Leave." As he turned to leave, defeated, I called after him. "Oh, and Mark? Tell Sophie she left her cardigan. I'll be using it as a dust rag." I closed the door before he could respond. 2 months later, I was painting the kitchen a shade of brown that Mark would have hated. The divorce moved forward, and I'd recently returned to my old job at the design firm. Mrs. Lawson knocked on the back door, peering through the glass. "Come in," I called. "Watch the wet paint." She entered carrying a plate of cookies. "Thought you might need sustenance for your project. You're a lifesaver." I put down my roller and accepted a chocolate chip cookie. "The house is coming along beautifully, dear. I love what you've done with the living room. Nothing like removing a cheating husband to open up the space." She laughed. "How are the children adjusting?" I sighed. "They have questions, of course. We're doing therapy, all of us. Mark is seeing them twice a week. It's a process." "And how are you, dear?" "Some days are harder than others. But there's something freeing about rediscovering who I am without him." My phone buzzed with a text from my sister suggesting we take the kids apple picking over the weekend. I'd been thinking, I turned to Mrs. Lawson, about hosting a party once the painting is done. A fresh start celebration. What a wonderful idea. "You'll come?" "Wouldn't miss it." After she left, I stood in my half-painted kitchen, surveying the home that was truly mine now. The pain hadn't disappeared, but it had transformed into something manageable, something that reminded me of my own strength. I picked up the roller and dipped it in brown paint, ready to cover the last traces of my old life with something new and entirely mine. It turns out that healing, like a proper home disinfection, takes longer than 2 weeks. But unlike the lie that started it all, this process was real. And so was I, more real than I'd been in years. Write in the comments what would you have done and subscribe to our channel D-Damn Mix.